Mike's Daily Podcast.
It's Friday! Yay! And Mike Matthews here at 5:34 in the morning.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
I'm going to be slurring my words.
United States.
I think it's because it's so early. And I don't think that I was in any kind of REM sleep last night. I don't like it. I can't handle it.
You can't handle the truth.
But I'm going to do a show anyway because you're my fan and
Mike's Daily Podcast.
I'm really popular. I'm so popular.
I could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody and I wouldn't lose any voters, okay? It's like incredible.
Daily Podcast.
Where'd your voters go?
Yeah.
Did they all get shot? What happened? They stayed at home. I'm going to vote for Trump. Oh, wait, no, I better not because I'll get the coronavirus. I should have mailed in my ballot. Oh, but that's rigged and it's corrupt. Then I am at a loss. That's my little political commentary for today. I'll try and back away from that. Please, though, do not ever think that this whole coronavirus thing is fake news.
You are fake news. Fake news.
I know someone, or know someone sort of that knows someone that knows someone that knows someone that is like that. And guess what? They got the coronavirus. And it laid them up. They were out for at least 10 days. The temperature did not break. They had a high fever. It was not pretty. It is not something I would want to experience. I don't know about you. If you're all gung-ho about getting it, that's amazing. Just whatever. But I don't want that. I don't think a lot of people would want that. So if you do, then
Something must be wrong with you.
you like pain. So my point is that guy said he'd never get it, and he got it.
And here's today's podcast picture.
Which sounds like somebody else
Wrong.
that thought he wouldn't get it. He got it. And there we go. Oh, I guess I went a little political there again at that part, but that's all right. I'm going to just tell you what the podcast picture is. Oh, what I will say, though, about the whole coronavirus, take it seriously. It is so... You heard it's bad in the past. I've said it's bad in the past. It's so much worse right now. Be careful. Be really careful. Because here's the thing. You're going to go to your hospital, and they're not going to be able to help you. That's right. Listen to Basil. That's the main thing. That's the main problem. Is if you go and they can't help you, things will be even worse. That's what I'm worried about. Like, Trump got the coronavirus. He had like 50 doctors at his command. You saw them all in the lab coats standing out in front of the hospital. And it was like, oh, easy peasy, shoot him up with some steroids, he'll be fine. But if you show up to the hospital, especially if you're in a really small town, and your hospital's already filled up with everyone fighting the coronavirus, and you don't get anything because it's all used up, that's my big worry for you. I mean, it could be completely baseless, but at any rate, that was the late, great Basil the Boxer chiming in, and I once took him to this place called Mavericks. It's over there in Half Moon Bay. And I was there on Wednesday on a beautiful, relaxing day. And as I head home to work, head home on my beautiful Wednesday, I get a text from someone, part of my team, who can't make it into work. And then I got another guy who can't make it into work. So thus I am here. And when it rains, it pours. And everybody has got one thing or another. So, yep, that's why I'm here. I told somebody there's this guy who's like, he wants to be an operations manager. And I go, well, you know what? You got to get ready, because if you're going to be an operations manager, you will have no time to yourself. Just when you think, I mean, thank God I was able to take Wednesday off. Wednesday I want to tell you, Wednesday was probably the best day of my life, and I mean that in the most American authors sort of way. It was fantastic and just breathless, and I'm going to be posting picture after picture after picture from this Wednesday. It was so miraculous. Then Thursday happened, and now Friday, and I'm hoping we turn a corner with the with this work situation where people can step up a little bit, because that's what happens with a team, right? You lose some folks. Sometimes everybody's got to pick up the slack. That's what it's about, is picking up the slack. So hopefully there are those that will be able to do that. Picking up the slack. Lord knows I've done it. I was just thinking, when I did this, so you've listened to this podcast. This podcast has been on. Well, now, what is the episode? I didn't even say the episode number today. 2163. So I've done that many episodes, episodes, and yes, this show's been like almost 10 years long. This podcast started in 2011, and I have been doing this podcast. I would go to work and do when I originally started working for the company I work for, I would do early mornings like I'm doing today, 5 a.m. in the morning. And I would I don't think I took a single break. I may have even shown up to work a couple times sick. But that's back when we didn't care. This is years ago. And we're like, oh yeah, just show up sick. Or, you're sick? Still show up to work. Cause yeah, the operations manager back then never groomed anybody, as we go outside a cafe anyway, where you're bringing Mike's Daily Podcast somewhere in Podcastro Valley, Mont today. Never groomed anyone to replace me. So if I were to leave for any reason, if I was sick, like I just can't come in, they would have no one that would know what to do. No one. And it didn't finally dawn on them till one day I was like, I'm going to Florida. I have to see my mom. I actually, when I started with the company that I work for now, I did not take a single day off for a year. I think the operations manager forced me to take one day off one time. And I remember that day just being another one of those miraculous days. But yeah, it was hardcore. So it's kind of interesting to me when people take a bunch of days off and start working, and they're like, oh, I can't do this day, can't do that day. Okay. At any rate, but that was interesting because, yeah, they finally had to get someone to figure out how to do what I do. And then eventually I got promoted to operations manager. And they're like, Mike, you got to be able to, you got to find someone who can do the 5 a.m. thing. And I tell you, it has been so tough. The guy that I am filling in for today has been amazing. The guy before him was total bunk. Total, like, he started out with total best intentions, but then went totally astray, awry. And that was it. It's just, this guy could not wake up early. He thought he was going to do it, and he didn't. So, my point is, it takes all kinds, doesn't it? This planet of ours. There was so much I wanted to get to on today's show, but it is just being here. It's an arduous task. So is riding horses, by the way. I was riding horses on Wednesday on my miraculous day that I was telling you about, and I'll find a picture from it. I can't figure out what it is right now, but the riding horses was so much fun, but it is a seriously, it's a lot of, what do you call it? That muscle that when you work out by pushing against another muscle, And I can't think of the word. Oh, well, it's that kind of training. That kind of isometrics, something like that. I can't think of it. Anyway, because Cafe Anyway, you're sitting there. Here's still my anyway sound effect.
Anyway.
And you got to push your feet in those the little things that hold your boots. The stirrups, right? Is that what it is? You put your feet in there and you got to push out so that you don't fall out. They say you got to make sure that your heels are always, you're putting pressure on your heels the whole time. And that way you stay in the saddle. And then you're supposed to keep your back straight. And then when the horse starts to gallop, then you really feel it. You're like, your whole body is trying to hold itself together. And oh boy, I talked to a couple of people who have ridden horses, and yeah, you do, if you've never done it before, and I haven't done it since I was a kid, so it's been decades upon decades that I have not gone horseback riding, and I really feel it in my legs right now. I still feel it, and it's been 2 days. But my horse was the wonderful Mr. Ed. Yes, not the Ed, Mr. Ed from the old TV show, but a new horse named Mr. Ed, who's 14, and he was fantastic. And it was a really profound moment. We heard the late great Basil the Boxer earlier in the show, and there was a piece of beach in Half Moon Bay called Poplar Beach, and there's a point where you walk onto the beach, this horse group that we went with, and it was like, oh my God, this is the little path. And I have video of this. I would go to the beach with Basil. I did this many times. And I'd have him on the leash, and he'd be all excited to run on the beach, and I go, wait, stay, and then I'd unlock his harness so he could run free, and I'd be like, go, and he'd zoom down this little ramp, this little hill, onto the beach, into the sand and the ocean. And that little ramp is what we walked down with the horses. And it's been, how many months now? It's been 4 or 5 months since Basil passed. And I was walking down, and I'm going, oh my gosh, I'm walking down the ramp that my dog used to run down, but I'm on a horse. And Basil would have loved to bark at the horse I was on. He would have loved it. So it was a profound moment. I patted my horse on his back. I said, thank you, Mr. Ed, as we walked onto the beach. And I'm thinking, no, really, thank you, Mr. Ed. I'm over 200 pounds. This must not be a very fun job for you. And I'm whining about my aching muscles, you poor thing. But we walked through the sand with this group. The only thing is, this group we went with, they go, oh, we'll take pictures of you, because if you bring your smartphone, you might drop it. Everybody drops their smartphone when they go riding with us, so just leave it in your car. We'll take a picture of you. We have our own smartphone. And the guy took pictures and didn't send any of them. He sent one, finally. He sent one, but I know he took a bunch more, and that would have been a great podcast picture, but he just took one. I'm like, no. And I'm a big shutterbug, and I gotta have my picture of me on the beach. But I got one anyway, so Cafe Anyway. There you go. That's it.
Anyway.
Look who's outside a Cafe Anyway somewhere in Podcastro Valley on Friday. Yay. Olympic Matthews, it's Chely Shoehart, gift shop supervisor. Oh my God, it's like so early. Yeah, very early. I want to go back home, go back to bed. Maybe at some point my team will be back to normal, and we'll be able to get it back together. Be great. Get the team back together, working right.
Right.
Look who else is here. Oh, Mike, this is Floyd the Floorman. And this is John Deere, the engineer. Yes, Mike, it is very early, but I get up early all the time. And I get up really early, and I do all kinds of things, like working on all kinds of projects and amazing inventions. Okay. Next show, it's going to be the wonderful Benita, the Disgruntled Fiddle Player, and the Brewmaster. Have fun waking up early, or not, or sleeping in, or laughing at people that wake up early, or whatever you do. And tell me what you think. 336MM Daily, 3 + 3 = 6. MM as in Mike Matthews, Daily as in what this podcast will try to be for the next couple of days. And ride a horse if you can. It's kind of expensive. Find a good team. Maybe make friends with someone who has a horse. There you go. And enjoy your weekend. Thank you.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at mikesdailypodcast.com. Email Mike now at mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com. See you tomorrow. Bye!